All right, looks like we got a pretty good quorum. Let's go ahead and get started. So I just added, I wanted to make note that we are still experiencing transition to LF snafus every now and then. So I know that DNS was being transferred from ONF to LF, and there was a problem. It is manifested in a couple of different places. Some of you have seen it with charts.open or onosproject.org. I don't think that particular one has been fixed yet, but last I looked, but there are tickets filed with LF, and I think everyone understands what's going on and should be cleaned up. Does anyone have anything else? We don't have DAF on here. I know Michelle is here. Is there anything else to say about transition that might impact people?
Not at this point. I think there's maybe some marketing channels that might be put in place further down the road, but that still has to be decided on. So nothing at the moment.
Okay. And somewhat related to that, we had planned to, I've been tracking people joining the dev and TST mailing and announced mailing list, and it's kind of thin. It's basically folks on this call that are involved on a weekly basis. But we were going to make some sort of announcement to the broader old list saying these new lists exist, please move to them and make it dead easy. Maybe that's for time, and are we close to being able to do that?
Sorry, I'm trying to get you off mute, and I was getting some error messages thrown there. So let's see. If in terms of announcing to the lists, yeah, I guess we have everything now that we need to do that. I think that all the autoresponders on the old list was one of the things that was kind of all hung up. But I can get announcements out to the old lists with the new. Yeah, that's easy to do. You can't think of anything that would why we'd want to wait, right?
Well, so the only issue is you really need an LF ID, and that's a hurdle that some people just might not be willing to clear. But
there is a way to set up just like a mailing list through LF uses HubSpot, which I'm not entirely familiar with. So I'm still figuring out what all the parameters would be, but it would be kind of the equivalent of MailChimp, which we were using at ONF. So I've put in a ticket just to create a list for Aether, just to kind of play around with it and see. But you wouldn't need an LFID for that one, and we could use that as more of like a newsletter type platform.
So we could use that for what we're currently calling announce.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we could use it for a broader audience who maybe doesn't want to be involved in all the technical stuff, but we could still send notices out to keep people informed of like upcoming events or TST calls or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a problem literally transferring the old members and then letting them opt out if they want to. That's probably
yeah, I think knowing timing can probably add to this, but I think we had been told by Arnold that there's some legality around that.
Okay. All right, so we're looking into MailChimp like to do announcements.
Yeah, what we could do is
no
once
LF ID required.
Yeah, what we could do is once those new kind of like newsletter opt-in channels are set up, we could send a newsletter from the old ONF MailChimp to all of them and let them know that that's a new option to subscribe to project specific newsletters moving forward.
All right, well, let's wait for that before we do some kind of a broad announcement, and then if it's available, do that and also point them at the more technical lists that they will need an LFID for.
So question, I'm hearing today that one needs an LFID. We created some mailing lists that I did not think required an ID to use. Is that not the case?
No, I mean, it requires an ID. Practically everything in LF requires an ID.
So if somebody hits our website and they want to just ask a question, we're trying to send them to a community, to either Slack or email. We don't have anything that doesn't require creating an LFID.
Well, I mean, if we had a legit website as opposed to all we've got now is the wiki, we could do something on the web page. We don't have that. All we've got is the old Aether webpage on ONF's website. The wiki, as near as I understand, requires that you come into an LFID.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, and I think I've come to understand that in the last week or so too. So I'm thinking that we need to have a website, but once my question is slightly different. It's like if somebody wants to ask a question of the community, where do we send them, and do we require they have an ID?
Well, we send them to Slack as best that I can explain it now. People get sent to Slack, and that's still outside of LF's purview. You still got to admit them to the Slack, so it's not trivial, but there is no. We don't have that. Well, first of all, we're not getting. I mean, you may be getting. I'm not getting random inquiries. It's more coming through some technical issue.
I get a decent number of random inquiries, you know.
Yeah, you're more in the line of fire for that.
Yeah, and I've been looking for a place to be able to start sending those people. They come in largely to info@opennetworking.org today. And we need to get this kind of resolved. I thought we set up, and apologies, I've been away for 2 weeks. I'm just kind of rebooting my brain on this right now, but I thought we set up some email lists, 4 weeks ago.
We did, but they are LF groups. They're managed through the LF facility.
Yeah, they're groups.io, Timon. So they do require you to create an LFID to subscribe, and the wiki requires you to create an LFID to access. There is just a general mail forwarding I set up that both you and Larry and myself are on. That's just info@etherproject.org. So like we can get inquiries, but right now the only thing the only way people can really find that email is on the wiki because we don't have a website yet.
Yeah, and the problem, so that particular email address is a nice one. We can make use of it, but where do you advertise it? Because the only place we have to put it right now is our wiki that requires.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do.
And quite frankly, people are
website.
going to find their way to us through ONF for quite some time, I would suspect.
I can add that email to the ONF website, but ideally having an Ether, even just a landing page would probably be helpful in the long run.
Well, so ultimately, people find their way to ask questions through LF. The Aether project is an LF project. So somewhere on the LF sites, isn't there a little synopsis of each project that could include that address?
They list project logos and then they'll link your website to your project logo.
So
if
we need
someone
that
finds your
website.
project, they redirect to your website. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and Larry, you had started a project site, and I would propose that we get that thing launched, and that's really a DNS issue then, is getting the DNS pointed to it.
Correct. And it will need to be populated with this new information.
So I don't think anything should hold us up. I think we should launch it,
Well, yeah, I just did it on my own personal Weebly account, so that maybe isn't quite the right answer, but I guess we could use it.
Do we, just so we don't take over the TST meeting with this, do we want to maybe Larry and Timon and you want to schedule like a marketing sync up later this week or next week to keep this moving along?
Yeah, we should do that.
It's a good idea, yeah.
Okay, let's do that and tie that one off and move on to the next topic, which is the Wuzhong has an SD-RAN update. Looks like good news.
Yeah, so last week I had some meeting with some other some people, and finally I got 3 graduate school students from Korea. So they wanted to start working on the SD-RAN project as an engineering team, and they all got a confirmation from their supervisor as well. So so this is good news, and they are saying that 2 or 3 more people wants to join too. So probably this week I will add more people. So they are all studying the EE, and most likely they are working on the mobile network things. And good thing is they are all have an experience on the rig side, not only for SD-RAN rig, but also Flex rig and ORAN SC rig too. So that would be really helpful for us to move forward. So that is really good news, and probably finally I believe we can get around 6 people in an engineering team. So probably in this year at least, so we can move faster to make it stable and work, not only for release but also for the SD-RAN roadmap 2024. And
Wonderful.
also, yeah, that is really good news. And also this is the onboarding plan. So I actually have a plan to visit Korea in May. So I will meet them face to face, probably late May, and will provide them some sort of handover sessions or hands-on session or some tutorial session so that they can easily work for the SD-RAN project. So like I mentioned before, the SD-RAN original plan for the SD-RAN release is the end of June, the end of Q2. So probably late May, I will provide everything what I know in SD-RAN, and probably early June they will start stabilizing the SD-RAN project first, and then contribute on some scalable RAN simulator too. Because the good news is one of the students wants to write a paper for their scalable RAN simulator as his PhD dissertation. So probably as a long term, I think we can make the scalable RAN simulator better. But well, it's not. It is the really future work, but I believe it should be good. And anyway, so yeah, so release will be on track. Probably I can confirm this at this time, but if there is any issues or some concerns, I will immediately let you know. So that is about the SD-RAN update.
Thank you. So
That
so
sounds really good.
they are good working on the SD-RAN RIC.
Yeah.
All right, lovely, wonderful. Anything else? Any questions for Wuzhong? All right, next topic, briefly, I just wanted to make sure people are aware about the status of on-ramp. It's now completely using the latest version of SD Core. I see Kunal is on. There have been some instabilities with running the integration tests on Jenkins. Kunal, is there any easy explanation for that, or?
Yep. So most of the jobs failed during when UPF UPF was not coming up and it was in terminating state continuously. So I think that was because of the change, because the change was not reflected in the new branch. So while using the candidate branch, we were seeing some issues, and due to that, UPF was continuously crashing. And after that, I think once the candidate branch was merged, uh, the the machine was not able to bring the UPF up because of some stale entries, and we have to create new fresh machines for all these jobs. So
So
with all these,
can you explain that aspect of it? Because I thought you did a fresh install every time you run the test.
so currently we are running these tests only on the existing machines. These are all AWS instances. We are right now we are not using that on-demand kind of AWS instances. But yeah, I have
Well, no, I get that you're reusing existing AWS instances, but I thought you cloned a fresh copy of master and, you know, updated all the repos and everything as though it were fresh from scratch.
yes. Every time we are removing the existing repo and we are cloning it fresh, but still somewhere those entries are um, were causing some issues.
All right, so I think I'm just going to note, and I wonder if there's something that is hidden here that other people trip over every now and then, which is I've suspected a stale cache problem. It's very intermittent and I can't explain it.
Mhm.
I guess we'll keep an eye on it. All right, we'll get back to, you've got some more QA coming down below. Just another note that I'm in the process of doing several cleanup things, and Gabriel's been making some suggestions. So, and has been issuing some pull requests. So I'm just going to keep working on those cleanup activities until the day that we do a public announcement, and then I'll stamp it as officially 2.2 when we do that. If you see anything in on-ramp that looks like it could be cleaner or is suspect, let me know, and we'll get it in as good a shape as possible before we publicly announce it. Okay, the next bullet is about that announcement, and I don't know that there's anything more to say there. I do believe we want that Aether website in place before we do a public announcement, so that we're prepared for all of the spotlight being shined upon all of our good work. Anything else on any of that?
Maybe one suggestion on Larry is not related to OnRap itself, but it seems to me that we have so many channels in Slack, and you know, when there is some, let's say, OnRamp question, people post in the general, post in EtherDev, Ether OnRamp, and start posting the same question multiple times. Is there a way to kind of clean that up or better inform the users where to exactly post questions?
I think that's kind of par for the course. I don't know if you have any ideas. I'm happy to entertain them, but I think you're always going to see first stab at a new person posting to some general place before they find the right sub channel. I don't know. Whenever I see them, I just make a point of pointing them to where I think they will be get the most help.
But for example, what's the difference between the EtherDev and Ether OnRamp?
Well, that's why I don't know. I mean, OnRamp was specifically about I'm having deployment problems, as opposed to I'm trying to understand how to change code buried down in the SMF somewhere.
But we have the SD Core Dev as well, right?
Yeah, so arguably EtherDev is unnecessary. I don't know. So I don't see a lot of traffic on Ether Dev. Yeah, maybe we can. Let me just make note. In particular, oops, on-ramp versus, well, let me spell it out. Ether on-ramp versus Ether Dev. Right now, there is no Ether Dev except for on-ramp. So I guess in general, there could be. Technically, if someone came in and wanted to start to change the APIs by defining new rock models, there's a little that might go there. Yeah, good. Thanks for raising that. Let me take a look at the activity going on in EtherDev and see if maybe we want to change that up a little bit.
One of the, sorry, excuse me. One of the things that could be done is once we sort of hash out the ideas of what these channels should be for, updating the channel headers if somebody's got admin to be able to do that, to basically say, ask questions about blah here type of thing. I know that there is, I believe, a header for Ether on-ramp, which has got like the on-ramp guide and troubleshooting and a bunch of stuff pinned to it. But there's other things like general is just saying, company-wide announcements and work-based matters.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah.
And where else to go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Well, let's do that. I'll go make a pass over those. Not to complicate things, but at some point we also need to figure out what to do about the fact that this is an ONF Slack workspace. My sense is that most of the activity is Ether related, but I don't maybe follow all the other stuff going on, so maybe that's not accurate. We'll just commandeer it. Although every now and then I do see a random question about ONOS, so that does happen. Okay, UPFDNN device group question.
Yeah, that would be me.
Okay.
Essentially, what I found is it's easy to put inconsistent data in by the fact that the SMF uses the literal string of the DNN as the primary key when looking at device groups. So if I have a device group named 1 and another device group named 2, but both of them have a DNN called internet, then essentially the SMF will take whichever one it got from the database last and use that as the set of values.
Oh, that sounds wrong.
Yeah, so this was just sort of a general question going, is there something not quite right in the SMF, or am I misunderstanding the intent there?
Can you probably
go ahead?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't understand the question actually. If you can describe it, or maybe in the chat, maybe I can help you getting answer.
Yeah, sorry. So actually, Larry, if you could open up, I realized I made a typo there. It's not the device group name, it's the DNN that's being used as a primary key. So when you actually take a look in the SMF code, you can see that it is maintaining like a hash map of device groups, but I believe it's using the DNN as the primary key for that hash map.
Well, an explanation for this is that you have that option, and it's only when you apply the discipline of having a one-to-one relationship between the DNN and the device group that you get the behavior you're after.
No, what I'm saying right now is that if I create, like, can you open the link, the current open
Oh, yeah.
issue?
Yeah. Let me,
7, that might help explain things a little better.
yeah. Tell me how
So-
far to scroll.
Yeah, so essentially here, you can see I've done the 2 subscribers, scroll down to the device groups now. And here you can see device group 1 with a DNN of internet and a UEI pool of 127.1. The QoS characteristics are all, 10, 10, it's 1. We go down to the next device group. You can see I'm calling this device group 2 with, site name of site 2, domain name is domain 2, but the DNN is still internet. Oh, sorry, IP pool is .2, uplink and downlink is 20. But the
So
DNN
question
name
here is both these device group are part of same slice or different slice?
I put them into, scroll down one more. I put them into the same slice right here.
Okay, so you have one slice, 2 device group, which is perfectly fine. And are you saying that you have 2 different UPF running?
No, I have one UPF running.
Okay, then question was what is the question now? Okay, so I understood you
Okay.
have one slice, 2 device group, and both device group having the same DNN name, which is
Yes.
internet. Okay.
And so now scroll down a little bit further here in the ticket. Oh, sorry. Basically, I assign, sorry, where am I in this ticket? I accidentally closed it up here. Oh, yes, that was it. When I created the device groups, if we scroll back up to the device groups, you can see one IMSI is in one device group, and the second IMSI
Okay.
is in the second device group.
Okay.
Okay, so when I attach MZ1, I get the DNN characteristics of device group 1. When I attach subscriber 2, I get the DNN characteristics from device group 1, even though
Okay, then that's wrong.
device group
Yeah,
2.
then that's bug. Yeah, then that's bug.
Okay.
Yeah, you have already opened, looks like an SMF, right? Okay, I can take a look at it. Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't, this wasn't a, well, don't do that type of bug.
Logically, I think this whole group and all concept, right? Your team has been working on the web console for quite long. So these concepts really, as soon as you put the right configuration in the UDM, UDR, and MongoDB, you are done.
Yeah.
After that, like SMF is just going to pull the content from UDM. So there's most likely the content added in the device group may not be accurate in the web console, but I will still look at it like seeing if there is any chance that SMF is overriding the content received from UDM. Right. So yeah. So either SMF or web console is the place to look at it. But it
Well,
seems something easy to reproduce. Okay.
Yeah, I do have
And how about IP address? Did you receive IP address in the correct range? 172.1 or 170? That also from group 1?
Nope,
Okay.
if we scroll down in the problem description, you can see the SMF log, which is saying, the other IMSI subscriber 1 is getting the IP addressing information of pool 2, device group 2. So if you scroll over to the right in connect the UE, that 2402.28, all the way over there, keep going all the way to the right. There we can see it's receiving the IP address from device group 2, even though subscriber is in device group 1.
Okay. I think I can take a look at it. If somebody else wants to look at it, that's fine. Otherwise, I can check it.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh?
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very
It
much.
seems to be bug. Yeah, yeah.
So as mentioned, we had looked into it a little bit, and it looks like it is a design issue in the SMF code itself, where it's using the DNN as a primary key for the hash map, or as the key for the hash maps, which means the fact that the DNN is being read across device groups, it
Okay.
fundamentally it's
Yeah.
not using the device group as the primary key. It's using the DNN as it.
Okay.
So that's as far as I got, but I didn't want to, sort of start proposing changes if if I fundamentally misunderstood something here. So perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe I
I
yeah,
also
yeah,
took
yeah.
I also took a look at that and yeah, I came to the same conclusion. It's the map and the SMF, but changing that might mean changing the way web console sends the updates to the SMF. It seems to be in the protocol. It drops the device group name, so there will be some changes, but we wanted to make sure that this was we had the right understanding before starting some work. So if you
Yeah.
can take a look at it, I'd be happy to help if we decide to rework some of that.
Okay, let me take a look at it. Give me 1 or 2 days. Okay. If you want to, like, I can just update this ticket itself issue. Okay.
Oh, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, on that. Good getting those eyes on it. All right, so let me, how to resolve here. I'll just leave it at that. All
That sounds-
right. I just updated the notes. I said AJ's looking at the issue. Canonical will offer help fixing.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
All right, finally, QA, Canal, the integration tests are fixed, so that's good. Anything else to say on that?
No, I think most of the things are fixed now. Once the owner's project would get fixed, I think all other jobs would run, and hopefully they'll be they'll get passed, because the last time saw this yesterday, it was all running successfully.
Ono's project is back online.
Good, good. Okay, and where does things stand with testing the UE ransom?
Yeah, UE ransom test is also successful, and we have 2 server configuration for now. The single server configuration is I am working on it, so it is in progress right now. So
Well, so it's still not working then, is that correct?
yes, right now it is.
I have a couple questions. Is there a list of all the integration tests that are being run?
Yeah.
Where can we see it? Oh, how
Well,
can we?
so there's a couple of answers. One, on the Aether documentation, there's a list. Not
Oh,
maybe as
okay.
helpful as it could be, but it's
Where?
listed. The problem is getting to the Jenkins dashboard requires a sign-in, and we need to do something about that. So there's the set of tests, and a bunch of them failed probably because of the Onos project.
There is a Jenkins configuration that allows anonymous read only. So if anyone needs help navigating Jenkins and has admin, I can assist with that.
That would be great. I haven't looked into that, so.
Okay.
And just FYI, if you go to Jenkins through this anonymous read-only path, you're gonna find a confusing pile of tests, many of which are no longer relevant. There's a lot going on in Jenkins that's obsolete. But if you click on on-ramp, that will get you to the integration tests that are up to date with what we're doing now.
Okay, cool, thanks.
And Mark, if you could post your instructions to, I guess, either Slack or the Slack on-ramp channel would be a good place. Or the TST
Slack
channel.
on-ramp will do.
Yeah, thank you. Because they're all, I mean, technically, they're all integration tests of different on-ramp blueprints. So it is topical, at least. Now, and the other thing, just as a reminder, back to Gabriel's question, I really would like to have everyone's eyes and edits on this. So we're trying to pull the specs for these tests out of Jenkins and put them into GitHub.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, and that's keeps getting postponed because other things keep bumping to the top. But as soon as we get this UE ransom test running semi-reliably, that will be the next big thing to do. Let me just.
Okay.
That is just a correction. The 2-server configuration test is successful.
Oh, okay. All right, so that being the case, can you tell us what throughput number you're getting?
So the throughput test we ran last time was we were getting around 800 Mbps.
Around 800?
Megabit, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
So my second question is regarding the UE ransom. So based on what it says, and based on the Aether documentation, it looks like the 2-server is kind of working. But kind of following the instructions on the Aether documentation, I don't see anything happening on the UE ransom side. But I don't know whether that's kind of the behavior or how in UE ransom works as part of the on-ramp. But typically when using on-ramp on a host machine, I see a new socket being created, tunnel being created for to be used to send any traffic in there. But when I run the the UE ransom target, the one that's I think is called Ether UE ransom run, basically nothing happens. What should be a way to kind of debug, or where are instructions besides the ones that are indicated on the other blueprints in on-ramp?
Well, I'm not sure if this answers your question exactly, but and this is more directed at Kunal. We need to make sure that whatever Jenkins is testing is pretty much exactly what a user would test, as opposed to having any extra help getting the test to run. The objective isn't only to have the UE ransom test run successfully and give back a number, but it's also to test that anyone else that tries it's going to get the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not yet sure that that's the case.
Should it be then, from that perspective, to me to look into the Jenkins, the job related to UE ransom, to see how
if
it
you can get to
runs?
the Jenkins job and have some suggestions there, that would be good.
Okay, yeah, because following the instructions on the on-ramp docs doesn't really, I mean, it looks like nothing is happening.
Well, all right. So it's possible that, Kunal, you might take a look at the doc to see if if you believe it's accurate.
Yes, Larry, I'll take a look.
But what I try to do is, as soon as I'm confident that the Jenkins job is running, use that as my guide to writing the documentation. So effectively, I'm describing what the Jenkins job did. And I know the Jenkins job's passed, therefore it should pass for you, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Okay. Yeah, no, here, when running this Ether UE run sim run, basically nothing happens. It just,
When you say nothing, it's in the run, nothing happens.
you're right, in the run, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's let me make note of. Okay, anything else? All right, thanks everybody's time. Productive meeting again. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.